Hello and welcome to 360 Youth Dialogue. Of course, like I always like to start, if it's concerning the youth, we're talking about it here on 360 Youth Dialogue. My name is Juliet Onwura, and today we're talking about something that really has continued to, happen, and without so much attention being put into it. Youth at risk. We're talking about harassment, exploitation, insecurity in general. I mean, a lot of youth has passed through either one of this trio, either sexual harassment, maybe police brutality, harassment from police, security agencies, even bullies in school. A lot of young people still face bully and all that. And we're talking also on exploitation. When it comes to exploitation, exploitation has a dynamic. It goes in different ways, from scam, Yahoo, down to different ways of exploitations. And also insecurity, which has taken a whole lot chunk in our nation today. We talk about security, insecurity, we talk about kidnapping, robbery, trafficking, a whole lot. I mean, this episode talks a lot on insecurity, harassment, exploitation, and who are the most vulnerable? The youth, of course. So let me share a story with you. A colleague of mine once shared a story about her brother who experienced, should I call it police brutality or more harassment? And he was coming back from a night class and encountered this police, security agency. Sorry to call them police by their name, but supposedly security agency, supposedly. And he was harassed and beaten and taken into custody, not only for them to request for his bail. Now, this we're talking about is harassment and exploitation. Now we see how this plays in the life of this particular story, this particular person. This is just one in millions. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking on youth as risk and how they can change these narratives. Stay with us.
The future is under constant threat. Across schools, workplaces, homes, and even online spaces, young people are facing harassment, brutality, and insecurity at alarming rates. From cases of sexual harassment in universities, bullying in secondary schools, to police brutality and cold clashes in communities, the picture is troubling. For many young Nigerians, safety is no longer guaranteed. Instead, exploitation, trafficking, kidnappings, and even scams have become daily risks. So why does this keep happening? The causes are complex but deeply rooted. Poverty and unemployment leave young people vulnerable to exploitation. Cultural silence and stigma make it harder for victims of harassment to speak up. Weak law enforcement and corruption mean abusers often go unpunished, while insecurity thrives. And in many cases, the lack of opportunities pushes some youth into risky paths. Despite these challenges, is there hope? When young people are safe, protected, and empowered, Nigeria has a future.
Yes, thank you for staying with us on that short break. You're still watching 360 U Dialogue only on Third Eye Africa TV. It's been a pleasure to have you so far in this episode. And like I said, we are talking about youth as at risk, the harassment, exploitation, and insecurity. And I am joined by a very special guest. She's an executive director, Women and Girls Capabilities Empowerment, excuse me for that, empowerment organization. I mean, so much on women and girls empowerment organization. I'm talking about no other than Oluwatoyin Olabisi Oloruntola. So good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm honored. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank
So
you.
tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're passionate about.
So, going by myself, my name is Oluwatoyin Olabisi Olorintola. I'm a graduate of English education at the University of Ilorin. I have a master's degree in development studies with a specialization in women and gender from the Harassment University, Rotterdam, Netherlands. And like you said, I'm the executive director of Women and Girl Child Capabilities and Empowerment Organization. It's an organization set up to amplify the agency of women and girls in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union Agenda 2063.
So what are you so passionate about when it comes to, the way insecurity is lurking and luring into the society, eating so deep? What's your passion? What do you want to see change in Nigeria?
So when we talk about insecurity, what are we talking about? Insecurity is caused by multifaceted factors. So if we break it down, we have poverty, we have lack of social protection for the vulnerable in the society. We have youth employment. So talked about poverty, lack of social protection, talked about youth employment. And also marginalization and social exclusion of vulnerable in the society. So all these are all linked to insecurity.
I mean, that's holistic. I like the way you brought the whole holistically. Yeah. Holistically. This English, I will study it. I will go to the Netherlands just like you. To study it. Okay, when we talk about harassment, sexual harassment, exploitation, insecurity, you already told us holistically what insecurity means, but what comes to your mind first when we talk about harassment, exploitation, insecurity in general?
When we talk about harassment, insecurity, and exploitation, it just reflects the failure of the social, economic, and environmental factors that every society should encompass. So, for example, now, if we have a very stable society, we have a strong curriculum that allows students to think outside the box, to be creative, to be able to develop their own solutions. So we'll not have graduates churning out huge number of graduates every year looking out for jobs. So from the school curriculum, undergraduates already know what they want to do and already know what they want to contribute to society. They already have it mapped out. They already have it mapped out, maybe as part of their project or something. But we don't have that. That's the school curriculum. And I also go to social protection. We all know what's happening in Nigeria now, the economic policies of the government. I'll name it too, the removal of fuel subsidy, the increase in telecommunication high, the increase in electricity tariff, and also now they said there's going to be a petroleum tax, and also the floating of the naira that led to increase in the dollar rate, and also the high cost of living in our markets. So now you ask yourself, how many families can feed three times daily?
Exactly.
How many families can cater extensively for their extended ones like it used to be while we were growing up? I remember when I was growing up, if I need anything, I basically don't have to ask only my parents. We have uncles, we have aunties, you even have neighbors. And when you're going back to school, they'll say, oh, take 100 naira, take. And when you're going by bus, you could buy granules or chin, all those things. But is that the case now? Even if it's the case, it's not as it used to be.
I mean, people would want to live for themselves first.
Yeah, you have to live for yourself and cater for your households first. So even in particular households too, now schools have resumed. How many children are able to go back to school? How many parents are able to afford school fees? How many parents are able to fuel their car or afford the school bus? That's going to again lead us to the number of children that will be out of school because of the economic situations. So we've talked about poverty, now talked about lack of social protection. And of course, youth employment. There's a popular adage that says, the idle mind
is the devil's workshop. True.
So in a very beautiful country like Nigeria, vast country like Nigeria, it's so sad that we still have a huge number of young persons that don't have jobs. And most times you can see when, as a young person, you don't have job, you have all the energy, you have all the idea, but you don't have anywhere to deploy this challenge. It can be frustrating. And that's why most times too, it pushes young people to taking drug abuse. So I don't know if you know Abuja very well. The popular will say markets. By your exiting will say market and you're going towards beggar. There's a side of the road there and you just see young people who are on drugs. They've been high on drugs. Most of them, you just see them. They used to be very close to the Anglican church, so I think the police chased them out of there, and now they're by the roadside, in the full glare of everyone. You see them taking these drugs in broad daylight, and most of them start misbehaving, some even practically going naked and sleeping. You could check it, you could Google it. Practically going naked and sleeping
on the road,
on the bare floor. In fact, yesterday I was watching a YouTube video on Kush, a popular drug used by young people in Sierra Leone, and the negative effects these drugs have had on the health and well-being of these young persons. Of course, the youth are the future of tomorrow. Sorry, not even the future of today.
Now.
Yes, and if we are to implement or achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union Agenda 2063 that Nigeria is signatory to, of course, the youth have to be a very formidable part of that agenda. The youth have to be actively involved. And I heard earlier they said there was going to be a youth confab. We're still waiting for when that confab will be held so that we can, work together as young people, as stakeholders to really channel these issues on the need for young people to be actively involved. And that's why youth employment is also linked to the high level of insecurity that we have.
Exactly.
For example, I remember growing up, 8 o'clock, I could still walk freely. But now it's not possible.
Exactly.
Just walking free, somebody could just bring out a knife and ask for your phone. Of course, you know that even the person is not intending to stab you. But because of the poverty, maybe he needs money to buy medications for a loved one, or maybe he has not eaten all day. And you'll be surprised that maybe your expensive phone, that if your expensive phone is stolen, you'll be surprised that you might just sell the phone at a giveaway price. Let me tell you a practical experience, a practical example. So I lost my father last year.
So sorry.
Very good man. So we buried him, And then, what? We wanted to honor our dad, and we did all this paraphernalia of a burial ground. Guess what happened? So few weeks ago, so we just said, okay, let someone go and check the burial, because it was done in the burial ground. We didn't bury him at home in the village. And what did we realize? That some strings that we had used to decorate his tomb had been destroyed. It's usually three, those iron strings. Of course, we were sad. At first, I thought maybe somebody wanted to do harm or something. But in second thoughts, we're like, we buried this man for a year ago. Apparently, maybe it's a young person or someone who has not had, maybe someone that needed money desperately. So guess what? My mom, in a church mind, I have to honor my husband, went again, sourced for money, fixed it. Guess what happened? It was removed there again, yes.
I mean, real vandalism.
Real vandalism, and it's so sad that not even respect for the dead. But at the same time, it goes to point that this person, I don't know him, but do you know the extent of the need that will push him to do that kind of act? Maybe he has a loved one in the hospital and he doesn't have money. Maybe the person is between life and death. Of course, we hear of free healthcare, but how free is the healthcare? I don't know if you can reason with me. Yeah, so it's so all. And if you travel like I often do around Abuja, outside Abuja by road, you would see, like, you go to some states and you just see young people, particularly young men, by the roadside. What are they doing? Drinking, gambling. And I just thought to myself, if these people were actively engaged, they won't be by the roadside. No, they won't.
I like the way you're really bringing it to, when they say insecurity, you've already pointed out. See, once the youth are unemployed, once the economy is not working,
and once we don't have a transformative educational curriculum, it goes back again to the curriculum.
Exactly.
So you cannot just have a curriculum that says 1 + 1 is 2, and then the teacher says 1+, and we agree. So you have to we have to make children think, is 1 plus 1 actually 2, or 1 plus 1 is 11? So we have to make them to be able to think. What is the evidence? Like a popular journalist always say, empirical evidence. Empirical evidence.
Yeah.
So what's the empirical evidence that 1 plus 1 is 2, or 1 plus 1 is not 11? Why 2? So when we can make young people, from the curriculum, educational curriculum, and I'm happy that the Ministry of Education says they changed the curriculum.
Yes, exactly.
But I don't think it's functional now, because
currently.
I don't think it's functional at the moment. But when you have a curriculum that enables children to be able to think, so for example, you have a curriculum like the subject like basic science, and we started talking about lights, maybe solar lights, electricity, mechanical lights, and I tell a child to do a project, maybe village A, there's no light there, they've never had light for 40 years. What can we do that will make sure that this village have lights 24 hours a day? That even if you go there by 12 midnight, everywhere is brightly lit like we have in this studio. So how can we make the children think? You can see, you've put a problem you're not telling them how to solve it, but you're giving them, okay, this
You're
is
setting a problem.
You're setting a problem, and then you're telling them
To go
look
solve
for
it.
the solution.
Exactly.
So now you see that every time we're always having our national grid is always collapsing. National grid is always collapsing. What have we done in when we are younger people, you have a lot of ideas, crazy ideas, but have we been able to make sure that they're able to put the ideas they have in their head on the table? And for those who have, we see on social media, youth doing this, how are we able to harness most times you see young people doing exploit, and we just see it on social media. After a while, we don't hear about. Next thing we hear about them is like, oh, they are abroad, they are this, they are that, which should not be so. So all these two boils down to insecurity. And, again, when people are angry, like, okay, somebody, maybe like for example, a politician says, okay, Mr. A supports me, and when I'm elected, I'll do this for our village, I'll do this for our community, I'll do this for our local government. And then the guy gets elected, and what did they see? He's riding the latest Motorola Carcade today. Tomorrow they see him in Dubai, flying in the air. Tomorrow is in somewhere around the world. And this kind of brings up annoyance.
Yeah.
And people then
It instigates the
yes,
youth.
like what happened in Nepal. They saw their politicians' children looking good, and them they are. So it instigates that annoyance that, oh, so we are the ones that. And then they start revolt. So that's also linked to banditry. Genocide is also linked to the insurgency that we have. Young people that were excluded, that were treated as deaths. Now they've now had the power that even, do you understand what I mean? So we need to harness the potentials of our young people from our school curriculum.
Yeah.
Then also going back to the school curriculum again, the school curriculum should not be all about theory, like I said, theory.
It has to be very practical.
It should be about very practical. So also the NYC. I remember the NYC is a program for youths. I remember the NYC Copper in Sokoto State a few years ago. I was an English language teacher. All I do is teach English language, and that's all. So for young people that have 1 year, 12 months to themselves, there should be a program that says, okay, maybe from what you've learned in school, you can learn a skill.
They've started doing it. They call it the Said skill, where there are like different skills that you practicalize on, and it's actually practical.
Yes, that's very good, and I hope it's sustainable.
Oh, it's very sustainable.
And I hope it's very because most time, even if youths are not able to get a job, those skills that they've learned, we're sure that they're able to add value to wherever they find
themselves.
Wherever they find themselves.
So I want us to talk more practical, like you said, practical. And it's very nice that we're starting on this foundation of what really is the cause at this moment. Like, okay, we've been able to pin it down that, the wrong curriculum, unemployment links to insecurity and all that.
I don't know if I can also add again, parenting skills.
I think we'll come back to that.
Okay.
I mean, that's the foundation, because they say family is the unit of every society. But we'll land on that. But I want us to talk more practical. When you talk of youth at risk and all the whole insecurity they might have faced or they are facing, because they are most definitely the most at risk. Looking at that, they have the most population in Nigeria. They are covering the most population. Now, what what story have you heard, or what experience have you had from, insecurity from coming from youth, or coming from,
Okay, so youth at risk, I'll define it on my own terms. As youths or young persons who have been placed in vulnerable situations
exactly,
as a result of social, environmental, and economic factors.
social,
my own
environmental, and economic factors.
So now, you said I should tell you a story. Just before
Have
I
you
came here.
experienced any?
No, I'll tell you a story. Just
Okay.
from this, before I came here, so I was reading Punch newspaper. And I read the story of a barber in Edo State who was shot dead. He was practically schooling and doing his barbing business. And just like that, he said he went to school for his final clearance and he went back to his barbering shop. And a group of people, just maybe cultists, came to his shop and shot him dead. That was a young. We never know. Maybe that would be the person that maybe that will be able to solve Nigerians' problem. Now he's dead. Another experience that I read about is the issue of Fina's sister that was in the news, that was in the media, social media. Fina, is it Fina or Pina? Sister that was crushed by the Dangote truck. You know, she had just graduated, and she was standing by the roadside, maybe done her final clearance, and standing by the roadside, and just like that, the truck crushed her, and sadly we lost her. Take it back to 11 years ago. A group of young girls were in school reading for their senior secondary examination, preparing to be future leaders, and they were kidnapped. April 14, 2014. They were kidnapped, just like that. A few have returned, a few we don't know where they are. Leah Sharibu too, just like every young girl, was in school, and she was kidnapped. The rest were returned. Leah was not returned. We hear about universities in the northeast, northwest, how a group of idle young people will go to the school. There was a case of a few years ago in Kaduna State, a private university, how a group of men drove into the school, took young people and killed them.
Just like that.
Just like that. We hear it again, just even around us here in Abuja, louds everywhere. You don't have money to give, and then they enter your car and, we hear you're coming back. I heard it from a few days ago, a colleague was coming back from work and he was attacked. He was stabbed. Thankfully, all his personal belongings, his phones, his laptop was taken. A young person goes to the hospital for maybe she's having fibroid issues, and for one reason or the other, because the doctor's ego or something, he doesn't attend to her and the person dies. You can see that these are all multifaceted factors.
Very correct.
A young person graduates from school, year 1, year 2, year 3, no job, and he hears a media hype about Dubai. Let me go to Dubai. Dubai has beautiful buildings, and they all forget all that glitters. There's also a dark side to Dubai. And then he gets to Dubai, or he or she gets to Dubai, and the story is different.
So, like you said, it's sad. It's such a sad story, because we can roll this on and keep reeling out stories and experiences. And do you know the good part I have about this? You didn't really say, oh, this is the experience I've had, because in as much as it's very rampant and it continues, we're glad that we've not really experienced it for ourselves.
No, we have. Of course. For many of us that are Christians, sometimes I'm still linking it to youth at risk. You go to church, and a child comes to meet you and say, I'm hungry.
Like, when I mean linking it directly to you, like you've not had first-hand experience of maybe exploitation, harassment, or maybe insecurity.
Of course, I will tell you, we all have experience. Are we not in Nigeria?
We are, exactly.
So I'll tell you a story about, okay, I won't want to be all gloomy, so I'll link it to a very funny but naughty story. A naughty, funny, and annoying story. So I entered the public transport a few years ago. And you know how we sit in public transport, it's not always cozy and everything, of course. And then this guy was pressing my bump, like really doing it. So at first I thought maybe it was something from his pocket and maybe, public transport, we all have to squeeze ourselves. So I was squeezed easy. And then I looked at the guy's eye, and he was smiling. And, you know, as a lady, I felt sad because if I had the financial strength at that time, I wouldn't be in a public transport, and I wouldn't have experienced that rubbish. Such. So you can imagine also what other women would have experienced because they don't have the economic power. So you hear of girls, the girl in Lagos, the BRT bus that was raped and then killed. You hear of women too who are in abusive relationships, but because they don't have the economic power to leave that relationship, they keep they keep just adjusting to the abuse. Of course, we see what's happening in the Northeast, youth at risk and everything. They might see a well-packaged person and say, oh, you are the one eating Nigerian man, and before you know, they kidnap you, and then go and your families, everybody have to pay around. In fact, I met a lady from Southern Kaduna a few years ago. I showed them that every member of the family, they are now poor because of this kidnap, because they kidnap someone from their family. Everybody has to sell their property, borrow money from banks to release the person. So they don't have any money to pay. Let them be feeding and be when they want. You don't want to keep it fine. They don't want to leave. They should just do whatever they want to do. That the kidnappings have left all their family members poor.
I mean, it's strange because somehow somebody brought to my notice that it's actually the youth doing this to the youth.
So that's where, you know, like, that's where the issue of aggression comes in. When, of course, I told you, young people have the energy, they have the strength, they have the power, they have everything. And they also, of course, with this age of social media, so it could just be like, okay, I can't. Why is a young person in America able to do that? I in Nigeria, I'm not able to do this. Why? So it brings, or maybe, for example, you travel, a young person has opportunity to travel abroad, for like, our leaders are wicked. For example, you land in Heathrow Airport or in Amsterdam Airport or in Charles de Gaulle Airport in France, and you are like, God, see country, our leaders are wicked.
So because of that whole hatred, they now pour it out to fellow citizens that are not even the doers of the wickedness, supposedly.
In fact, I was just reading a few days ago about a former lawmaker who wanted to was bereaved of a very close family relation in somewhere in the southeast, and he had to go. He wanted to bury his relative, and then he had to go and beg. He had to go and beg one of these youths that were involved in all these nefarious activities, and it brought down to my mind that. How did it get to this level?
Exactly.
How did it get to this level that a former lawmaker will stoop so low to go and beg someone that is not even up to his standard because he wants to bury a relative? And guess what happened? The young guys, they kidnapped him. They kidnapped him before I heard the security agents were able to release him. So if we don't put, we can say everything we want to say. We can say we can have all the beautiful policies we want to have and everything, but if we don't put economic, social, and environmental programs that cater to the very, very vulnerable and that translates to meet the needs of the whole citizens, then I guess we've not yet started.
We've not started.
Because the problem, if you can say that, the problem will keep growing worse and worse and worse and worse. So it goes back to having, this is not a matter, every lawmaker at the state and the federal level, and even at the government, federal government too, must develop programs. And it's not like we are developing programs and then prices of things are coming down, then you go to market. But the government is saying prices of things are coming down. What's happening now? So unless we see those programs translate to the very, very grassroots, that when I go to my village, I don't have to see a young boy, a young girl begging for food. I don't have to see dilapidated classrooms and young people on the street because water is entering, and because of that, they can't go to school. Unless we have programs at that. And then it also boils down again to our values and ethics. So you can imagine a lawmaker, you say you have constituency funds, and then the fund is not even going to the constituency, it's going to your personal pocket.
True.
So it also boils down again to our school curriculum. We need to introduce values and ethics back into the school curriculum.
I mean, you said, I like the way you take this story. I like the way you really link it down to the you put the cause and the solution together, and that's really interesting. Now let's talk about normality. Do you think Nigerians, because it's okay that we see that there is a problem, but do you think we have underestimated the insecurity and the threats that young people and the vulnerable face in Nigeria? Do we now see it as, oh, it's normal, oh, the person, oh, they have kidnapped this family, like you said, the family, they've even given up on the paying of ransom. So do you think we've normalized, threats and risk of exploitation, harassment, and insecurity in Nigeria?
Okay, before I answer that, I'll answer the question linking it to something. You know, Nigeria, we are a very religious and cultural society.
Okay.
Very religious. So like every morning before we leave our house, there is one prayer we are NSPPD prayer.
Yeah.
There is one prayer we are listening to. If we are traveling, we would have woken up by 3 a.m. to pray, to soak our cars with the blood of Jesus. We pray against kidnapping, pray. So I think that kind of make us, okay, I've prayed, I've soaked myself with the blood of Jesus, other religions, the traditional worshippers, our friends of the Muslim faith too will pray. You know, even if you're traveling, probably you see them with everybody's praying. So I think that has kind of helped us to normalize it. Okay, if I'm traveling, I've soaked myself with the blood of Jesus. My children are going to school, I soak them with the blood of Jesus. I'm a Christian, that's why it's easy for me to say that. And they just say, okay, nothing will happen. I've soaked, I've prayed, and this, that. But the truth is, we are not thinking of the long term. Long-term effects. Like now, we say the government says you want to make Nigeria a $1 billion, $1 trillion economy. We want to attract investors. We want to host the Commonwealth Games. Nigeria is bidding for the Commonwealth Games in Nigeria. We want to attract investors. So now, we the citizens, we soaked ourselves with the blood of Jesus. We've used our Ifa and Ogo and Iron to pray. Will an investor maybe is watching his TV and he has, I have this maybe $1 billion, I want to go to Africa. He took, Nigeria is a beautiful country. And maybe he checks on one of these global media channels and he hears so number of persons kidnapped in Nigeria. Do you think he will come to Nigeria? And then who loses? The citizens. Because we won't have money to fix our roads. We won't have money to have quality health care. There won't be money to do good investments in our country. So we are the one that will lose in the long term. Then when other countries are going AI, are going technological, they are fixing their rail line, very fast speed rail line. Maybe for example, somebody is working in Lokoja and is living in Abuja, so he can, because of rail, good transportation system, he's able to live in Lokoja and work in Abuja. But that's not possible in Nigeria. I don't know if you understand. So the long-term effect is we're losing. So all the other words are growing faster. They're expanding their economy. But because of our own problems have been caused by us, neglect, we just keep being relegated. And there's a popular adage that says, the child you refuse to train is this child that will not allow you sleep. I don't know how to say something like that. I really don't know how to put it well. So if we continue ignoring the problem, so that means maybe when we grow old, we won't be able to sleep because the problem might be times quadruple more than this. So we need to put in place measures. And of course, we can't say it's the government alone. The community. Of course, where these young people come, they come from families. So they have parents. Because nobody just drops down from wherever. They have parents, they have communities. And the community is just like, okay, my village. No. The community might be your neighbor, might be your church, your mosque, might be just that classmates, So this is the time for us to be each other's keeper. If you see someone hungry and you have like 4 biscuits, you can share 2.
In this economy, some people will say, let me keep the 4, the 3.
Okay, you can share half.
I mean, half would go a long way for someone.
Yes.
But let me ask you this question that will also ask the public. Do you feel safe in Nigeria?
Truthfully, as a woman, I don't feel safe. Because after like 6 p.m., I'm always scared when I'm outside because I'm afraid of maybe someone sexually molesting me or stuff like that. But on the other hand, when I have the opportunity to travel out of the country, like 12 midnight, you're still outside bubbling, gisting with your friends, and you don't have that fear.
So, I mean, it's a question that every Nigerian should answer, and I would literally say, looking at the economy, looking at situation, security situation, looking at, like you pointed out, the values and ethics of people currently, I do not feel safe as a Nigerian in Nigeria. So we're going to ask the public whether they feel safe living in Nigeria or not, and this is what they have to say about it.
It is a known fact that we are not safe in Nigeria. As for me, I don't feel safe because if you are traveling from one point to another point, you have to pray your life out. You have to hand over your life to God and wish that you get to where you are going safely, which is not supposed to be so. In the 80s and 90s, we travel all through the day, all through the night to where we are going. I serve in Adamawa State. I'm from Delta. I serve in Adamawa State, and we travel all through the night from Onisha to Adamawa, to Yola and Mubi and the rest safely then. But now, even from here to Kogi, Lokoja State here, I mean Kogi State in Lokoja, you just pray that you get there safely. So, as for me, I don't think we are safe enough.
God is my security. I feel safe because I'm in the hands of God. But I know that our security system can be better. We need to improve on it because a lot of things have been happening lately. We think we need to tighten security so that people will feel safe and there'll be less crime. You understand? But for me, I'm in the hands of God and I'm safe.
Personally, I feel safe.
Okay, reasons for it.
Okay, maybe because of where I stay, and recently there've been nothing to make me feel unsafe. Just normal activities, go out, come back. Based on security, I would say maybe like 87%. I'm like 87% sure that I'm safe all the time.
Well, generally for now, I feel safe because I know my movement. Okay, I walk with time. I know where I go to, and I know where I live. I know the kind of friends I have, relations, and close associates. So I know my movement in 24 hours.
Okay, sir, do you feel every other citizen in Nigeria feels safe?
I don't think so for now because of the nature of the environment we live in now. So much hazardous people living around us. People have infiltrated into this country without any proper documentation. That is one basic problem that we have. People get into this country anyhow, the way they like, because our borders are porous.
Yes. So
That's
what
just it.
advice would you advise the youth on how to stay safe in Nigeria? What advice will you give to the youth?
Well, they should lessen their movement, okay? They should lessen their movement and avoid these social vices. I think these social vices is a major problem for the youths. Even if as a youth I'm not employed, that doesn't mean I'll begin to look to cut corners.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching 360 U Dialogue here on Third Eye Africa TV. We are back with more conversation on youth at risk. And I like this conversation. I like the way it's going. It's really more of the problem, the solution, youth at risk. And come to think of it, it's the youth in doing more harm on the youth themselves. And we've seen a lot of insecurity lowering in the society, sexual harassment, police brutality, exploitation, scams here and there. And like our guest said, she has linked it to the economic, she has linked it to our education system. I mean, value and ethics being part of the curriculum. And thank God we have good curriculum right now coming up in the education system and a whole lot more. You mentioned 3 key points on that, but I want to ask you, why is it that when this happen, when youth are brutalized by the security agency or maybe by their classmates, or when women are sexually molested or harassed or exploited, when people generally, the youth are exploited, and we're seeing insecurity, kidnapping, why is it that people do not speak up? Why are they, silenced?
But the youth spoke up in 2020 when they had the NSAS protests. They did. They spoke up. They spoke against police brutality. And what was the result?
So do you think that alone, there is suppression on the voices of the youth in Nigeria?
So Nigeria, the society is very peculiar, like other African societies, where our culture and our religion really, will I say, hinders us. That's what I feel. Sometimes you want to talk, and your pastor will tell you in church, let's pray for peace, don't cause trouble. Remember in the Bible, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, no violence, The traditional leader will say, let's just pray for peace. And then because of poverty, maybe some political leader will share at most maybe palliatives or maybe 100,000 people should go and share, and everybody just keep quiet. But the thing is, I'm sure INEC is out now telling people to come and register. So I think I'm convinced that youth, we still have the power. We have the power, we have the numbers. And this would be an ample opportunity for every young person out there to go out, register so you can vote. And also, now is also time for young persons to develop avenues to make sure their voices are heard. So, of course, thank God for social media.
Exactly.
Thank God for TikTok, for WhatsApp, for Facebook. So you don't have to go to conventional media outlets like this to make your voices heard. And also, young people must be very strategic. When we want, if you're very strategic, look at the obedience movements. Look at how strategic they were then. So young people can form like an alliance to make their voices heard and demand something from government. And like I said, it doesn't have to be the federal government, your state government, your local government. You see something like, oh, this is wrong, we need to fix it. It's not about always, sometimes when you collect things from these political leaders, you can't talk because you've collected something, you don't have the power to talk again. As much as possible, there is some kind of level, but we should also have our pride and not be concerned with our mouth and our stomach, because everything will still end up in the toilet.
Exactly.
But let's just speak out. We have our voice is our power, and let's make use of the social media platforms that we have.
Well, in as much as the youth are being so techy and put it out there on the social media, we should also be cautious of, this is like a disclaimer, be cautious of the Cybercrime Act, where you can't just throw it out there.
No, I mean, you have to be, like, if you see that your borehole is not working, you don't have to abuse your governor and say you are this, you're that. No, just snap a picture of the borehole, send it to the governor, and you're not abusing the governor. I'm sure
and it's true when it has to do with security, because there was this, I think a state governor came out and said, that they have been able to link youth as the, should I say, informant in the society. So it's like you said, you don't have to link your mouth. Somehow you said you put your mouth and your stomach.
Yeah.
Your mouth and your stomach should not be first, because everyone will say, economic hardship, they get to, the bandits and wicked people and kidnappers tend to give them more.
And that's why youths also need to be skilled. You need to be empowered, so that you don't just fall for any trash. You don't just fall for, because somebody's giving you 100,000 now, you just keep quiet. No. So it's also youths having the power, and it also boils down again to the educational curriculum. Everything just boils down to the curriculum. And also our religious and traditional leaders play a role. They should promote peace. And they should stop trying to shut down the youth. Sometimes youth will want to talk, they will just keep it cool. And I don't know, I would like to add this. Agriculture it's such a very multifaceted source of income. So I think I'm advising that even the governments can, at the state level, at the local government level, can, develop innovative agricultural programs where young people can be actively engaged in. When I mean innovative, I mean not the one that have cutlass and hoe and this thing. No, innovative agricultural programs that will even a young person will that will make it very attractive for young people.
So let's talk a bit more on vulnerability. You know, whenever they talk about crime, the first person they are thinking, oh, nobody would think of a 50-year-old man perpetrating crime. What makes the youth vulnerable? What makes them very, very vulnerable? Like you said, is it systemic? Is it a systemic issue or economic hardship? What really makes us vulnerable to crime and insecurity?
So like I said, the youths are very energetic, they're very powerful, they're very, gregarious and stuff. So you could see a young person, he has gone to school, he has his degree and no job. So what happens? He's angry. I told you about the guy, whoever went to my dad's grave and
vandalized.
So at the point we said we are not going again. Let them keep, whoever is in it should keep doing it. But of course, someone who is empowered, who is busy, who has a good job, or who has something handy to do, will not go to that extent of going to a grave to desecrate a tomb. So it still goes back to being employed. Let's keep youths, let our hands and our minds be busy. Let our hearts and our minds be busy. And of course, the media too plays a lot of role. So we should not be doing all this media hype, glamorization of wealth. So sometimes the media tend to showcase, oh, this person is throwing this big party, and this person is getting married across 10 continents, or this person is. So it kind of make, it's my, okay, how come this person is able to do this and I've worked and I'm not able to achieve this? So I think glamorize, oh, Dubai is, come to Dubai, work one day, you get $1,000 fee.
I mean, it flies on social media.
And I had this bad experience. I said I had my master's degree in the Netherlands. So of course I also had this media hype of, oh, I'm going to Europe, everything is free, I'm going to have a good time. So yours sincerely arrived at the airport. I was welcomed by my school representatives. So of course the first week of school we're told to go around. So I was just walking around, beautiful shops. So I went to this electronic shop. And the guy told me, just take any beautiful device you want for free. So my Nigerian mind was like, wow, for free? So I took a very expensive phone. In fact, I went the second day to take an Apple iPad. The Nigerian mind in me that was free. Do you know what the guy did? Just give me because the school gave us a bank card, ATM card. Just give me your ATM card. Let me just swipe it. That's all. You can take it for free. Unknown to me, that as he swiped my ATM card, he had all my details. So a few months later, I started getting bills. I started getting like 500 euros bills. For a student, how was I going to afford that? And I was even on scholarship, So I thank God I had our very close community with my church at that time. And that was when Kasala burst and they explained everything to me that it's not free. That nothing in Europe is free. I had other miserable experiences because of my Nigerian mentality. So of course you could imagine when you glamorize the West or the global North, and then you go there and you start thinking, let me go there. And somebody just promised you, come to Dubai or come to, or come to Iran, come to Iraq, you're going to work, everything will be easy for you. And the next thing you're going to either to work as a prostitute, or there's this even popular story on YouTube now, potty, where girls go to Dubai and their men are forced to poo in their mouths, and most girls are like that. But if you don't do it, you're going to be killed. But nobody tells you that at first.
I mean, it's all on the shiny
Yes,
aspect.
and the truth is that every beautiful country also has their ajegunles. But they don't show it on. I'm sorry for using ajegun. Every beautiful country also has their ajegunles. So but they don't show it because it's all about the media, it's all about the resort, the funds and everything. It's sad, but that's the reality.
Indeed, it's sad. And you just pointed out from your story, like, most Nigerians, we want things here, now, immediately, for free. How can I get out of Nigeria? How can I get money quick? How can I do?
And I think
the quick money syndrome. And I feel all those things keep recycling youth
because of our media programs, our Nollywood, what they project. So that's
and like you said, sometimes even when they go through their social media, they're seeing other countries,
yes, they're seeing
and they long for it.
And they're seeing celebrities who are also displaying. Like she just acted one or two Hausa films. How did she get these
True.
resources to do this? So, yeah.
All those things really put the youth in that
vulnerable
situation,
state,
in
yes.
that vulnerable state. Now, all the stakeholders now, we've talked about the media, we've talked about communities, and like you pointed out, the family, which is the unit of every society. How can all these people, including the youth themselves now, how can they come together to play a role that makes Nigeria, that makes the youth secured in their own country?
The truth is that we all have to have a common voice. We all have to have a common voice. We all have to have one voice. And if you look at it now, families are transcending. So it's not like we used to have it when we were growing up. Father, mother, children, living together happily. Now, maybe daddy doesn't have a job. He's always getting angry, going to drink, going to gamble, and comes back and snores. The mother too, because she's exhausted, she's also aggressive towards her kids. So even if the kids are going through issues, they prefer to talk to someone outside.
Yeah.
Maybe those ones too, they are facing the same issues, and before you know it, we all have a trouble in our hands or in our society, and that's what's happening. It all boils down again back to the economy. There's a book that says, "Is the economy stupid?" Yeah, that is the economy. So something like that is the economy stupid. So it all boils down to the economy. It all boils down to the economy. I mean, before, if you carry 2,000 to the market, I could brutally buy a kilo of chicken for 1.5 and buy tomato, pepper. But now, even with 2,000, you can't cook a pot of soup. Even a ogbono alone, a cup of ogbono alone, last time I checked was 1,000 naira. So how are you going to buy the crayfish, maggi, pepper? But the government keeps saying prices are going down. And then you go to market and say, but the government says prices are going down. So what's happening? Why are the prices still going up? School fees are going up. Mattresses are going up, house rent is going up, falling off the car is not easy. So daddy is frustrated, mommy is angry, the children are,
left to take care of themselves.
Yeah, so it all boils down to youths having one voice. Let's realize the power we have now that it's time for registering to vote and be voted for. Let's go out there and register and have a voter's card. And also, let's also be active in the political space, because someone said on social media that our lives is determined by politics. So and that's true in a way. So let's be actively involved in the political space. Let's know the political parties, and let's know what each candidate has to offer. I'm sure if we knew this is what the present administration would offer, I don't think many of us would have voted it into power. Even if that's what's out of our place, if there were programs in place that would, because even if you're very rich, even if you know how, you're feeling it. For us as Christians, most time we go to church, after service, somebody is waiting for you with her children. And maybe that the last money in your pocket, out of pity, that you had already strictly budgeted, that is going to, take you for a week, and now you have to share that resources. So it's really, yeah.
Okay, just before we call it a day from this episode, if you could share one tip or one trick or one way that the youth, young people, and vulnerable can protect themselves, how would you say? What would you advise them? One way you can protect yourself to feel secure in Nigeria.
Learn taekwondo.
I mean, that was really.
You said learn to kick your legs or learn to box.
Self-defense.
Self-defense, and if you're a lady, know that when you kick a guy in his groin, he's weak. So you know that that will give you some level of power. So you always have a barrier. If anybody attacks, you can choke the eye, or for a guy, you can choke the groin or choke any vulnerable part of his body and run away. And again, when someone is attacked, don't struggle for your phone or anything. But make sure you cause a harm on that person. Run away. Try to block. Find somehow to block your devices. Report to the nearest police station. But don't always struggle, and learn a skill. And always on the vulnerable parts of, maybe if you're a man, know a vulnerable part of a woman's body. For a woman, know that when you kick him, he knows that he will cry for pain for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's crazy, but it's crazy. I'm sorry for using that example, but that was what came to my head.
But seriously, come to think of it, I think it was, I don't know who said this, but it was really a security agent that said, Nigerians, go and learn taekwondo.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it's on the lighter note.
And
but
I always carry like maybe a spoon. I won't say a spoon or a fork, so that so that if anything, you can always choke and run. Why you like? No, it's you said to security.
I mean, it's
yeah, but that's the truth.
that's really the truth. But either ways, there are ways to protect yourself in Nigeria. But this is on the lighter note. This is very funny. But like you said, there are things you can do. There are pepper spray and all that.
Yeah, and again, this also again should be included in the school curriculum.
Yeah,
defense skills,
self-defense.
defense skills. And again, we need to hold our government accountable. Government at all levels. Please don't do these media programs that will just come and snap and go. No, let's do programs that will have meaningful long-term impact in the lives of the youth. Meaningful long-term impact in the life of the youth.
Very correct. I mean, you've spoken really well. I love the conversation with you today. It was really uplifting, and at the same time, you shared a lot of experience and you brought causes, solution. I mean, I've never seen, bringing causes and solution together and just straightforward. I mean, that's what they'll call, there's something they call, I've forgotten the word, but it's criticism. They call it, there's a word for it. I remember. I don't like losing my memory in this show, but either ways, it's been a pleasure to have you here join me.
I'm most honored for you to have me. Find me worthy to be on your platform. I really appreciate it. I don't take you for granted.
You're
Thank
so
you so
welcome.
much. I celebrate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us here on 360 Youth Dialogue. It's always a pleasure. And to our viewers, one way you can secure yourself is by saying something. They always say, when you see something, always say something. In your community, whatever that's looking suspicious, always report on time. Not when bandits are already in your area that you start saying, oh, I saw them last week or I saw them this week. Make sure you say something. And on Third Eye Africa TV, you can always make your report on iReport. You can send us a Gmail. You can reach to us on our social media platform to report incidents, to report crime scenes. And we're always there to cover up for you and, take it to the appropriate authorities. Thank you for joining us on 360 Youth Dialogue here on Third Eye Africa TV. Bye for now.
iReport. Have you ever witnessed a crime or suspicious activity around you? Don't stay silent. Take action. You can now report crimes easily by sending videos to us on iReport. Record a video and a brief narration of the incident with the location and send to 0701 372 8007 on WhatsApp only. Your action could help save a life or stop a crime in progress. Stay alert, stay safe, be the voice